Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It's me, Digi, and we are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator for another installation of my ongoing series, Go West, Young Man. We are continuing our adventures flying through Canada. The first flight we did, I think, was about a week to a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. We flew out of St. John's and we went to Halifax. And now we're going to fly out of Halifax towards Toronto. On my Discord, I had made mention that I was going to try to fly the 7-8, but I feel like I changed my mind. I feel like I want to try the triple. I had difficulty flying this plane yesterday for some weird reason. I I couldn't actually fly it without it inadvertently triggering sim rate increase. And I don't know if anybody else noticed this or figured out a way around this, but I don't see a reset. Like back in the day, oh, there was never a reset. I don't see a way to show what the current sim rate is. If anybody sees a debug menu that shows it, it'd be great to know. But all that said, I stopped my flight. I downloaded updates from PMDG, and now I have the thing. So I have the plane. It's going to be Charlie Foxtrot India Victor X-Ray, and we're going to be flying out of Halifax. So Charlie Yankee Hotel Zulu. And I believe we're going to be using either gate 5 or 6. The last time I tried this, I picked gate 5. I should have picked gate 4 because the parking was a little bit off. Now, I haven't really decided what I want to do because we had coverage on VATSIM and now we don't, which kind of works in my favor, so I can just use Unicom and ease my way back into comms. I've flown on VATSIM in the past, don't get me wrong. I just haven't done a flight in a while. So I tried doing one last night when I was flying with Canuck out of Bangkok to Phuket, but unfortunately it did not work out. So let me try this. I'm on simbrief.com right now and I'm in the works. I'm creating my flight plan. I should be able to put in my registration and I should be able to get that filed. I was going to do a lazy flight. I'm kind of contemplating going on VATSIM and doing the thing there. But if I do a lazy flight, I don't have to spend time pre-filing. I can look up stuff while I'm in flight to keep myself and you all entertained. And we can talk about some things, some projects I'm trying to come up with, and some ways to move forward. So, I don't know. Maybe I should do that instead of trying to, figure out what the best way is to file on like VATSIM and do all this stuff. But I mean, if nothing else, there's a there's a bit of a welcome camaraderie in the sense that it helps me do things, keeps my focus on the flight, stuff like that. So today's flight's going to be about 2 hours long, given a half an hour on the ground. It's not going to be that long. I mean, that's probably going to be it for the stream once I'm on the ground at Toronto. So it's not a bad idea, and I could easily do that on VATSIM and just enjoy myself, especially since right now anyway there's a non-zero number of people, especially people offline flying in, coming in from overseas flights, kind of like the usual schedule. So why don't I do that? Why don't I turn live traffic and multiplayer off, fire up VATSIM, and then get ready to share the skies with some of the pilots, maybe even hear some really cool chatter. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire up vPilot. And we have the 777 already chosen. What I need to do is to connect and adjust my time so it is real time. Okay, give me a moment to file up a flight plan. It looks like we're going to be flying direct Cal No and then taking the Ragged 6 into Toronto, and I say should have an update AIRAC. I think I'm behind on avionics plugin updates and sim brief dispatch, but I'm not going to worry about that right now, especially since I'm already in the sim. Now, let me go ahead and do a few things while I'm getting myself set up. Let's hit the battery button and just make sure that we can actually get avionics on. Quite the noisy plane, I like it. I'm surprised the FMC hasn't come up faster, but that's okay. If I have to look upstairs first, I'll look upstairs first. I'm not going to mess around with too many things. I'm going to have an enjoyable flight. I don't want it to be, entirely crazy, accurate. I don't want to work myself back up to that point if I do. We are going to turn on some of the onboard electrics, and so that I don't forget, I'll turn these on. These probably come on way later, like when we're a lot closer to actually starting up, but I'll do the same thing with the window heats and the ELEC and air. And let's turn on logo lights. This is a Digi flight after all. And let's see, overhead, we'll turn the overhead lighting all the way up. And what else can I do? Not much at the moment. I'm going to get the flight deck and cabin temps set. We'll keep the cabin temp nice and cold because a compliant passenger base is a, what is that? I'm saying that wrong. A cold passenger is a compliant passenger. So let's see. Beacon and nav are on. Let's go ahead and get connected. And there we go. Now it's up. FS actions. Let's go ahead and take ground connections. Dual jetway, PAX entry jetway request. We have ground power already connected. And let's see. We'll take an air conditioning unit. And what else do I need? Let's return. Vehicle services, fuel truck, aft galley. Let's go ahead and take all the fixins. No lavatory, no lavatory or cabin cleaning at this point. And we will take a fuel truck as well, since we are going to be taking some fuel on board. We don't need stairs because we're connected. And bulk cargo, aft cargo, forward cargo. First thing I do, I want to take the fuel and payload notes into consideration. Today's flight is going to be how much? How much? I want to see. We're going to be taking about 47,500 pounds, about 47,300 pounds, 47,310 to be exact, of block fuel. Oh, why are we in kilograms? That's interesting. Wait, let's see if we can fix that from in here. PMDG setup, aircraft options, simulation. Where are my units? Sure, call out airspeed, 80, V1. I'm actually glad I'm going through these right now. V rotate, V2, positive rate. Auto time compression. Wait a minute. Was this what was messing me up last night? Well, I can't believe this. Definite skill issue. It was the chronometer button that was messing me up. Direct sim rate control versus auto time compression. Okay, so I have sim rate set, so I'm not going to mess with it. This, I'm assuming, should not make me actually do that. And just to be safe, I'm not going to care about hitting the chrono button. I'm just going to fly with the clock and just make assumptions. But this is actually good. There we go. Weights and pounds. Done. Beautiful. This is good. This is actually pretty good now. Now I can put fuel weight in pounds, and we're going to be taking 56,120 pounds of payload, 244 passengers. Okay, so that fuel is saved. Payload, passengers will take 244. So that means, let's see, 54, 190 in economy. So it's kind of a light load, which might be consistent with the length of the flight. And I should be able to, I think, copy the units. Oh no, wait, I was flying to 78 last night, so that's different. I have 244 passengers for today's flight. Should be a total payload of 56,120 pounds. What does that come out to? A little bit less, actually. So, all right, that's fine. I don't care. Cargo, we're taking 13,420 pounds. This is a light plane today. Wow. Um, okay, so 13, 13,420. So let's do, what is it? The bigger numbers in the back? Let's do 6420 in the bulk hold. I don't think it'll hold that much. Oh, it does actually. And then we have 3,000 in the forward hold and 3,000 in the aft. What was that? It was 13. So 4,000 in the aft hold. Okay. So I'm plugging in the numbers that I have from the generated flight on SimBrief. It's not what I would set randomly. So it is what it is. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and run with this and see what happens. Okay. So doors. Left door is opening. Now we can go ahead and take on some passengers. Cargo forward, cargo aft, cargo bulk, and all access doors open as we're getting some food loaded and getting this plane set up to go. Cabin lights to auto. I'll let the flight attendants take care of that, and now I can get started with the FMC and all these things. Oh, one of my very first officers came to say hello. Mrs. Digi is doing a little bit of vacuuming, so she's like, save me from that weird noise. It's okay. I like having a very first officer here to keep me company while I prep. Okay, so we definitely have a current AIRAC, and let's go ahead and get the initial position set. We are departing Charlie, Yankee, Hotel, Zulu, and that's our reference airport. Gate is 4. I don't think it'll accept it. Yeah, I don't know how that works, so I usually don't bother with that. We will take the last position and plug it into inertial. And then we're going to go to route and we're going to plug in Charlie, Yankee, Hotel, Zulu. And destination is going to be Charlie, Yankee, Yankee, Zulu. Nathan's Plains, good afternoon. Hello, friend. Welcome aboard. You're just in time. We're going to be flying out of Halifax to Toronto today. Privileged to have you on board, buddy. Welcome. I'm flying the triple today, and I'm hopefully not going to run into any problems. I realized, you smell Toronto. Well, we are flying there. What runway am I departing from? I'm going to be taking runway. Look at the briefing. Look at the briefing. Runway 23. So 23, and flight number Air Canada 197. And that's it. So we're going to activate this flight, go to performance init, and we'll take a look at the gross weight, and we'll keep the numbers here. Gross weight's 478.8. Fuel is 47,300 pounds roughly, and zero fuel waste already plugged in for me. Reserves for today's flight are going to be, let's see, usually the number I pick for reserves is FinRes, but you could probably also add all the numbers that come with it. I like to think of FinRes as my absolute lowest number, so I'm going to plug in roughly 5.8 thousand pounds. Cruising altitude for today is going to be flight level 380. Let's see if we can make it. We can. And the cost index is going to be 83. This should be a peppy flight. So there we go. And do I want to do a performance-based takeoff? I wonder if there's anywhere on the briefing that tells me that. I know I have cost index, but I don't know. I'm not worrying about that. I mean, this plane's peppy enough to take off from some debatably sized runways, so I'm not like, going to stress it. So, oh, well, there we go. I can just say 10% D rate, and then take off. We'll do a flaps 5 takeoff, but before I configure or commit to that, let me go ahead and import my data into charts so I can see the chart details for Toronto. And let me not be rude and let me share with the class so you guys can see what I'm doing. So give me a moment and I should be able to show my browser window momentarily. It takes me a little bit sometimes. Just stand by, please. All right, Blender. Okay, should be below. It's usually below my overlay or above it. There we go. Browser capture. And I have to usually adjust what browser window I'm looking at. There we go. Navigraph charts. And let me just adjust this. Okay. Been a while since I used my browser window. Sheesh. All right. Okay. Let's zoom in here. Let's go ahead and grab my position. I'm at gate 4, taking 2-3. So, taxi onto the apron taxiway, turn left at Golf, Foxtrot, cross 1-4, Lima. Certain OFP formats will have a takeoff landing report at the end after the flight log. That is a fallback in case we can't calculate our performance live on the iPad for whatever reason. That's good. Well, tell you what, I have my browser here. Let's take a look at the flight plan. So this is the OFP. This is just a preview. And we have planned fuel, we have operational impacts, times, weights, flight log, wind information, ICAO flight plan. Ooh, these are remarks. I haven't filed on VATSIM yet. I think I actually am going to fly in the network. And then we have, oh, there we go, takeoff and landing report. You were right. Sweet. All right, so we have TLR sequence, takeoff data. There we go. So it looks like 146, 147, 156, and we'll see how close those speeds get to the real deal when I actually get to the performance page. So I'm going to hang on to that for now, and then we'll see what happens. Let me put this away for a little bit just so I can get back to configuring the plane. But thanks for the tip. Okay, let me close this. Oh, wait, no, that's it. It does work. Good. So we'll take flaps 5. And did it actually mention flaps 5 as well? Let me see. Yes, it did. Flaps 5. Sweet. And the QNH is currently 2913, so I'll hit the B button just to be a lazy bum. And trim's going to be 350. 350. Let's adjust that. 3.5. Done. And now I have my favorite ATC frequency. TARA, I'm logged in and I'm already doing mode Charlie. So let's go ahead and switch over to 122.8. Wait, I forget. Does VATSIM Canada require CTAF? Let me take a look at the charts. Do we have a CTAF frequency at Halifax? Ground is 121.9er. D8 is 121.0. Oh, there we go. Monitor 121.9er for all apron movement. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it at 122.8 for now, and I'm gonna have 121.9er queued up so that I can try to be legit here. I'm trying. Now, what can I do in here? Call the cabin crew? We're all here for it. All right. So let's see. I can do a public announcement. I can do all call. I can do door 1 and ground crew. So let's see. Let me just make a friendly announcement to the cabin and to the flight deck. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard Air Canada Flight 197 with service to Toronto. We should be getting out momentarily as soon as we get all our numbers punched up here and we get the rest of the delicious snacks and beverages loaded onto the plane. Expecting a flight time of about maybe an hour and 50 minutes, give or take 10 or 15 for traffic or vectors. And we should have you on our way to Toronto shortly. So once you get in, feel free to set your bags down or in the overhead compartments above you, and feel free to fasten your seatbelts just as soon as you're comfortable and ready, because we'll be departing shortly. Thank you. So we have that out of the way, and I don't think I need to worry about things like what, ILS in this bird? Let me see. Okay, so we do have NAVRAD. That's fine. And what was I saying before? Let me take a look at my takeoff landing report real fast. Takeoff landing report said V1 146, 147, 156. And it looks like we're going to be a little bit lighter, which jives with what I saw when I was plugging in the actual performance numbers. So let's go. Okay, thrust is going to be derated 10%, and we have trim set already. Takeoff, go around. No, wait. Takeoff gross weight is, I think. Not here, but I'm also not going to worry about that. Okay, index root. All right, now the root is again going to be direct Kelno and then the Quebec 806 vector airway to Tukir. So let's see, Kelno, Kelno, and then we're going to go to Quebec 806 to Tukir. Tukir, Tango Uniform Kilo India Romeo. And now we can do the arrival into. Does that mess with it? No, not really. Yeah, I do believe we're okay. So now I can also plug in the arrival, which is going to be the Ragged 6. Ragged 6 from Tukir, and then we're going to take 3-3 right, which is an ILS. And transition is Rydod? Let's see what it looks like. ILS 3-3 right. Let me share. ILS 3-3 right. Let's go ahead and pick Rydod. Ah, good. So we go out into the bay, then go ahead and line up. That's fine. Lines up with vectors. I'm happy with that. And we'll take the Halifax 4 out of Halifax, which of course makes sense. All right, superb. So we've got that lined up with our flight plan thingy. Smack right over the top of Peterborough. Make sure, make sure you wave. Nice. There we go. I'm happy I'm doing this today. This is dope. So we got the flight plan filed. At least I believe we do. Let's double check those legs. We have vectors, and then Kelno is the first waypoint. So vectors on departure, which means we'll just get ourselves settled, maybe climb to the initial climb, and let me see what the Halifax 4 departure looks like. Maintain 5,000. So 5,000 is going to be our initial climb, and once we're established, we'll go direct Kelno, and we will actually continue the rest of our climb. Like I said, I believe the climb for today, the flight level is going to be 380. So vectors to Kelno, and then we fly to Tukir, and then we fly the arrival. And then we have vectors from Kedzu to Agbek, and that was the ILS approach. No, that was the arrival. Oh, vectors to Agbek. So we're actually we could be going direct to Agbek from Kedzu, which is probably not going to be an issue. And then Laytag, go around is going to be 3,000, 1,100 on initial climb, and go around, which is going to be a climbing right turn to what looks like Avtech, where we will hold. Hopefully we won't have to hold, but we'll see. That's it. That's the flight plan. Let's do, again, double checks. These are going to be lower numbers, but I usually, wait a little bit and then pull. So we'll see what happens. We have the trim set. So we should be able to start punching in all our numbers. I'm going to put in 157 on V2 speed. And auto-armed throttles already armed. Flight directors, we're going to go ahead and arm those. LNAV and VNAV are now active. So, borrow mins and altimeter. The mins at Toronto are going to be, I usually take the largest number I can, and I believe we're going to be using 767 feet Oh, which is the exact opposite of what I said I was going to do. Largest number is 960 feet, but that's with a localizer with a glide slope out. So 767 is actually what we want. Haha. And there we go. Let's adjust. 767. So almost there. There we go. Barrow is set. We'll take weather. We'll take traffic. We do have some traffic. 767 and a triple. Sacrilege. It's okay. It's okay. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. And okay, now I think we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and start queuing up the APU. Let's go ahead and dismiss the fuel truck. Just, decorum. So, ground connections, we'll leave things as they are. Fuel truck release, we've been refueled. And let's go ahead and release the galleys. And that's it. What else? That's okay. We set the cargo. So, what else do I need? We can probably close all the doors at this point. Closing. Cargo doors are closing. That's fine. Let's also go ahead and disconnect the jetway. And we'll release the air conditioning unit. That should be all we need at this point. So, let's fire up the APU and then start thinking about our exit strategy here. How many fuel tanks do we have to fuel? Only the wing tanks, not the center. So we'll get the fuel pumps on. Electrical, let's go ahead and start getting ready to fire up the APU. Beacon light on. Flight attendants, arm doors cross check. Stand by for all call. This is all call. Okay. APU's coming on. Going through my views here. Cabin temps are set. Packs will be handled automatically. And initial climb is going to be 5,000 feet. Departure heading on the runway, the magnetic deviation is currently 233. 233. 233. 233. That'll be our heading, and that should be everything. Let me double check NavRad because I want to know that we have the ILS set. Nav radios, VOR. When we get to Toronto, we're going to want 112.15. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the VOR. 110.3. So, wait a minute. That's interesting. I don't get to plug in the core setting here. Oh no, I do. I do. I just haven't plugged it in. So it is 110.3 at 327. Really? That's interesting. I don't remember having difficulty with the ILS. Um, we have the ILS approach punched up, so I'm assuming it'll automatically do that for me. Okay, there we go. That's fine. That's fine. So yeah, the 7.8 does something very similar with regards to VORs and ILS approach. But with the 7.8, I usually punch in the nav frequency before I take off and turn glide slope on. If the 777 does it for me, fine. We'll deal. Okay. So APU is running, doors to auto, electronics are now turned off. Let's go ahead and switch over to ground, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Let's take a quick peek around, and I think we're okay right now. Absolutely nobody here but us, so let's get a move on. Halifax traffic, all stations. Air Canada 197 Heavy is type Boeing 777. We are pushing back gate 4 for departure runway 23, Halifax traffic. All right, let's get our vehicle services. Excuse me, ground operations. So, let's see. The APU gen is running, so that's good. Turn type is short, long, custom, off. How come I can't pick my pushback? Let me also set my parking brake before I forget. Oops, sorry. Okay, parking brake should now be set. That is correct. So now I should be able to remove wheel chocks, I think. No, there's something about this that I'm missing here. Ground connections, vehicle services, ground maintenance. No. So we've taken care of ground services and vehicle services. I should be able to pick a pushback of some kind and get going. But there's two problems. Hmm. Yeah, something about that just isn't working for me. Time required to fuel and A. So we should be ready. Those are all closed. Oh, that door wasn't closed. Oops. All right, so now we can arm. Everything is armed. It's interesting. I thought I said close all doors. Weird. All the cargo doors are closed, though. And now let's see if we can actually push back. Nope, still can't. All right, so what am I doing wrong? Standby 1. BMDG 777. How to push back. Built-in pushback. Oh, really? Maybe through the AFB. Two-Face Disc, welcome aboard. Hey, Lyles, welcome aboard as well. Thanks so much, Lyles. Feel free to grab a seat in business class. Two-Face Disc, so good to see you, my friend. Welcome aboard. It looks like the built-in pushback function on the FMC has been disabled, at least as of last summer. So, I mean, I did load a recent update, but it's not working there. Let's try the EFB. Thanks so much for stopping in, everybody. Really appreciate having you aboard. Let's do ground operations this way. It's probably this. So there we go. Chocks removed, or remove chocks. Can we actually get the chocks removed, please? Release. Oh, let's release ground power first. Thank you. Now we can remove chocks. At least I thought we could. There we go. And chocks are removed. There we go. Good eye, Nathan. Appreciate it. It looks like we're using the EFB for everything. So, door management, request all, release all. Nope. Door management. All of them are armed, and they should all be armed at this point. Ground maintenance, no. And ground connections. I see stairs, maintenance van, forward, fuel truck. Oh, I made a ground type. There we go. So, off, plan fuel. And we have fuel on board. All I need to do now is just get this thing pushed back. I don't think the option's in the EFB. Let's go ahead and find out. Here's my flight data. There's my OFP. Navigraph charts that have to get that plugged in. And we have the correct nav data. So that's there at least. And perf tool. Import from OFP. Import from OFP. Import weather. Runway ID 23. And rating, takeoff 1. NEIS config off. Aircraft config auto. Invalid weight input. Hey, Turdog, very nice. Maybe now we can do it. You're right. Let me give it a shot. What did I say my numbers were for takeoff weights? They were like somewhere in the 450s. Hold on. Let me double check. So payload's like 470 something. Okay, so I'm not really worried about performance numbers per se. I don't know why the weight's incorrect, but again, I don't care. All right, let's try the CDU one more time. And hello, everybody. Happy to have you aboard. Thanks so much for being here. We are about to get started. And let's try the pushback again. So, back to the menu. We have not PMDG setup, but FS actions, ground operations. Wheel chocks have been removed, and I do not have the option to do a pushback here. So we could theoretically just fire up the engines and push back ourselves. Or Shift P for default. Yes, that is what I believe some people did. And since, again, there's nobody here but us 777 drivers, we should be able to get on the road. All right, let's just go ahead and prep this bird. We are APU enabled. Let's go. So let's do Shift P. Unless I don't have it. We are going to Toronto, Turdog. We're taking off from Halifax. Fuzzy Pickles, hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. Very happy to have you aboard. We are about to leave Halifax, and we're going to Toronto. Now, let's see. We can release the parking brake. There we go. And we can reverse slowly. Slowly. We'll do this by hand, chat. Here we go. Start engine number 2. You're right, Fuzzy Pickles. You just made it. Alright, give us some fuel in engine 2, please. And while we're waiting, let's get the camera set up. Oof, that's bass. We can go a little bit faster. Okay, we're like 50% N2. I feel like I can fire up engine number 1 at this point. Fuel for engine 1. %. Let's give it the go juice. Flaps 5 set. Trim's already set. Hit the clock button about a minute behind. That's fine. I'm not going to bother hitting the chrono button. That's what triggered the auto speed increase last time. Thanks for spending your time here, Turdog. Really appreciate having you aboard. Speed it up a little bit more. And it looks like we have both engines good and ready to go. Alright, give me... There we go. This is why I like flying on Twitch, because I get to spend it with amazing people like you. Yes, I can fly by myself. Yes, I don't need to be, streaming to enjoy flight simulation. But, I don't know, it's just so much more fun when I have folks to share my time with. He said we'll leave it at that. Well, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and hold. Stop, push back. We'll set the parking brake for now while everything gets taken care of, and we will finish our prep. Now, do I remember how to actually show the systems page to show me the flight controls? No, and to be frank, I kind of don't care right now, so we'll just do some physical verifications. We'll do full left, full right, no obstructions, full forward, and full back, still no obstructions, full left rudder, full right rudder. We are good. We should be A-okay at this point. And if I test my takeoff speeds deleted, let's just double check our takeoff speeds before we get out of here, and we'll set the parking brake. The parking brake's still there. All right, quick check. Yeah, we're still right in the zone, so good for me, good enough for me. So flight controls have been checked. We should be able to get out of here right now. Nice. Enjoy. Man, that sounds like a first-class meal. Alright, let me double check my flight plan, or excuse me, not my flight plan, the ground map at Halifax. We are set to taxi, and we're going to be taxiing via the apron, Golf Foxtrot crossing 14 Lima. All stations, Halifax ground traffic, Air Canada 197 Heavy is taxiing runway 23 via main apron, Golf, Foxtrot, crossing runway 14, Lima, Halifax traffic. Ten out of 10. Highly recommend, and the cabin is now ready. So let's go ahead and release that parking brake. And let's go ahead and begin our taxi. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Parking brake release. At least I think it's released. APU is running, so we don't need that anymore. We'll get taxi and nose light on. And let's see. There's a little bit of a dance that I'm doing here. Oh, we have ATC? Great. I thought I let go of the parking brake. There we go. Little extra pressure and we are good. That's fine. Let me set the parking brake while I switch over to a frequency so that I don't hit anybody. And I should be able to see frequencies on here, shouldn't I? No, that's fine. Let me just go check out my vPilot client. Alright, we have Halifax approach at 119.2. Oh, you know what would also help? Filing a flight plan. Yeah. Always a good idea. Always. So before I even talk to approach, let me set up my flight plan so I don't really bork myself up. I was about to go flying on VATSIM without a flight plan. Go figure. Digi memes. Ding! Let's see. For some reason, this took a while. Yeah, that is important, Turdog. It's usually good form to have one. I'm just saying. It took me like 3 tries to get my browser verified last time. I wish I could still do a flight plan from inside the vPilot client. No idea why it takes so long. I guess I gotta verify like 3 different websites. Come on. Yoo-hoo. Takes a while, sheesh. I can probably pre-file by going to a specific place. Have to verify. Interesting. Thanks for the update. Why are you not loading for me, please? Wow. Oh, this is a joke. Nice. DIGI, you knucklehead. There we go. Finally lets me sign in. Alright. Wow, that took a while. Okay, so I'm pre-filing. So at least they'll have this. I thought I said it was pre-filing. Hello? And there we go. TCAS Sim Brief FS 2020 Default Scenery CYHZZYYZ PMDG 777-300. Done deal. So flight plan has been filed, and now they should have it. So I can switch over 119.2 right now. Hey, hit it with a hammer. That works once. Switch over. Here we go. Halifax approach, good evening. Air Canada 107 Heavy, apron at Halifax International, mic check.
Reading you 5x5. How do I read?
You read 5. Thank you so much. Air Canada 107 Heavy is requesting IFR to Toronto.
Air Canada 107 Heavy, I have no flight plan. Could you refile and call me back?
Will do. Just refiled. Stand by. Approach Air Canada 107 Heavy has refiled.
Air Canada 107 Heavy, still no flight plan unfortunately. Standby 1.
Yeah, I miss having the flight plan feature baked into the pilot client, where it's just a window you can plug everything in. But I have filed, so they should have it in a few moments or a minute or two. I'm starting to dig through for some freeware add-ons. I might actually do that just to have a little bit nicer scenery to look at. I can make the airports myself too. It's just a question of figuring out when and how much time to actually dedicate to doing that, because unfortunately work's stepped up a little bit in terms of things to do, and I have a limited time frame at home. But at least we have this
Air Canada
bird.
107 Heavy, I'm seeing you as Charlie Foxtrot India Victory X-ray, is that correct?
Roger for Air Canada 107 Heavy.
Air Canada 107, I still have no flight plan. I think it's probably because it's not syncing with your course, your tagged logged course line.
That's a little weird. Let me check my browser. Kelno. Where in the page does it show you your registration? It doesn't show it here, does it? ACA, aircraft type 777. Oh, hold on. Let me try something. Exactly. I just realized that. Thank you. Exactly. What was I thinking? Been a while since I did this. Usually it's the call sign, not the registration. Duh. Halifax approach, Air Canada 197, just realized what I did wrong. Refiled.
Air Canada 197, are you ready for your clearance?
Go for clearance for Air Canada 197 Heavy.
Air Canada 197 cleared to Toronto Pearson via the Halifax for departure, runway 32, then your flight plan routing, squawk 4301.
Air Canada 197 Heavy cleared to Toronto via the Halifax for departure, runway 32, then flight plan routing, squawking 4301.
Air Canada 197, the read back fully correct. Push and start is at your discretion, call me for taxi.
Will call for taxi, Air Canada 197 Heavy. Okay, so, change up, we're going to be doing 3-2 instead of 2-3. Which is a shorter runway for a triple. You sure you can't give me 2-3? Okay, well, let me see. We have ATIS, so let me take a quick peek. Winds are 290. Oh, 290, gusts 29er. That would explain why. Okay, got it. And what's the information? Information is Alpha. Okay, great. That just came on earlier, so that would explain why. All right, quick change up to the flight plan. Let's do this. Take that off. We're going to be taking 3-2, and there we go. Not on an intercept heading. That's fine. Double check, and then we still take vectors, so that's fine. So route is 3-2. Bingo. Done deal. And I'll double check my flight plan as well. And we'll pick 3-2 this time. Alright, superb. So, there we go. So it's taxiway 1, Delta, cross 23, Kilo. That's what I'm expecting. Not on intercept heading. Let's fix that really fast. Also, add in the takeoff speeds again. And I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, I don't care about checklists at all. So, here we are. Halifax departure, Air Canada 197, ready to taxi, information Alpha.
Air Canada 197, taxi Delta, clear to cross runway 23, Kilo, hold short runway 32. Current time Delta is 2917, information Alpha's current.
Roger Alpha, altimeter 2917, taxiing to 32 via Delta, crossing 23, Kilo, holding short 32, Air Canada 197 Heavy. Okay, that's fine. So we are pointed down 1, we'll cross 23 at Delta, and then Delta turns to the Kilo, and we'll follow that all the way to the runway. Alright, there we go. Alright, so several missteps later, we should be good to go. Let's release the parking brake one more time. Actually, I don't even think it's on right now. It is. That is interesting. Enough pressure. At least I thought we had enough pressure. Hold on. There we go. Parking brake is off. Let's taxi. Thanks so much for sticking around, everybody. Welcome aboard. We are finally on the move. And let's go ahead and turn some lights on. Actually, do I need to? Not right now. That's better. I was
Air
closer to
Canada
the window.
197 Heavy, correction, altimeter's 2913. Apologies about that.
Not a problem at all. 2913 for Air Canada 197 Heavy. Glad I got on Vatson tonight. It's fantastic. Alright. Landing lights on. Taxi light off. Strobe light on. Wing lights on. Alright. Delta, we've already been cleared to cross 2-3. Doesn't hurt to look real fast. Alright, so we got about a 2-hour flight, maybe like an hour, 50 minutes. Took me a while to get set on the ground, but that's fine. Once we get underway and we clear airspace and we go on Unicom, I should probably be able to get up at some point and make myself a cup of coffee, which is probably what I'm going to do a little bit later. Looks like it's going to be an evening arrival into Toronto, which is superb. Unless, of course, we beat the sunlight in. We'll get some good ATC. Nice. Let's go. Much love to all my friends up in Canada tonight. Wishing you a great day. Okay, so my flight plan has vectors on departure, so we'll listen for their directions, whether it's a heading-based direction or we're going to be doing something. So, vectors are just going to, keep me going in that direction until I pick a different waypoint, which is good. And my initial climb is 5,000. Was that what they said before? No, but I took a look at the Halifax for departure, and that's exactly what happened.
Air Canada 197 Heavy, confirmed squawking 4301. You're cleared to line up runway 32.
We'll confirm the squawk, and we'll line up as soon as the squawk is available for Air Canada 197 Heavy. Stand by. Okay, looks like I forgot to do that. Let me go ahead and check that real fast. Or 301. There we go. Departure Air Canada 197 Heavy, squawking 4301.
Air Canada 197 Heavy, thank you. Service winds 290 at 16, gusting at 29 knots, runway 32. You're clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 32, Air Canada 197 Heavy. Bing bong. Flight attendants, please take your seats for departure. Yep, understood. Disregard. Like I said, don't care about the checklist. They probably will help me out, but we're okay. Cycle those engines up. Scene.
V1.
Rotate.
Right.
Me 2.
Ooh, windy.
Climb.
Gear up, please. Autopilot up to 5,000. Gravy, this bird doesn't mess around.
Air Canada 197 Heavy, report your passing altitude.
Canada 107 Heavy is 5,000 of the Halifax 4.
Air Canada 197, identified altitude text, clear to climb at flight level 230, direct Kelno on course.
Clear to climb, flight level 230, direct Kelno, Air Canada 107 Heavy.
Air Canada 869, Halifax Terminal, you on frequency?
Can we climb, good sirs? Do flight level change. Now I think we should be good to climb VNAV. Why do I get the distinct impression? Oh no, wait. That was before. We are going direct Kelno now. Superb! Let's go! Let's go, chat. Up, up, and away. You can click your altitude knob to reset VNAV after a level off. Thank you. That I did not know. Okay, after takeoff checks, we have gear up, flaps up, nose light off, we're below 10,000. We'll turn the wing light off for 10,000 as well. Oh yeah, we are on our way out of here, chat. Oof, beautiful sight. 10,000 feet means landing lights go off. Wing light goes off. And that's it. We'll sync up our heading. Climbing 230, we could probably be going even faster than this. Oh, we're not climbing as fast because we need to get up to speed. Got it. Yep, 3,000 feet per minute. Very respectable. Wow, beautiful. Evening flights make me think of all the flights home I used to take from destination trips. Alright, stand by. Let's take a look at this bird from the outside. Earphones warning, this is probably going to get loud. Ooh, look at that. Looks wonderful in the afternoon light as we climb out of Halifax. This is the DIGI 777-300. Looking lovely. Matter of fact, that is a saved picture. Oh, Nathan, seriously, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming along, giving me some pointers. Um, like you need to know, as far as I'm concerned, that's coming from a place of love. So believe, like, if if I thought that was trolling at all, you probably wouldn't have a green badge next to your name. Like, you are a valued member of the community. We've had this conversation before. Like a good roast in time is an amazing thing. You know how to thread the needle. Like, I know, I know. Like, whenever something's coming from you, it's usually because you're like trying to get a rise out of me, or like we're having fun swapping conversations back and forth. Believe me when I say that. I just thought it was because it was St. Patrick's Day. No, 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 no. Although, the funny thing is, I still chuckle when I think of what Canuck used to have on his stream, where it said, no
Canada
backseating allowed.
197, nothing further now. Radar service terminates, resume on navigation. Monitor advisories, have a safe flight.
Over to advisory for Air Canada 197. Thank you so much for the ATC. Until next time, ciao. Bit bumpy, just a little bit bumpy. Okay, done deal. So, the good old days. I remember. I still have P3D installed, and I do like using it for the model matching. The model matching that I have is not a paid thing. So, in FS 2020, so it's gonna be less, I don't know, effective than FSLTL. I don't have the spend for that right now. So I tell people, I'm glad to have you aboard. If the only thing you can do is lurk on frequency, lurk in my chat, then do the deal. If you can chat, or if you can follow, or if you can consider subscribing, doing things like that, that's great. Let's finish the rest of the VNAV climb. Yeah, I'm glad to say that the triple does a great job of making me enjoy the experience. Oh my gosh. Like, I think the Rod Machado tutorials in FSX are, quite frankly, the pinnacle of flight sim entertainment. Seriously. I don't think anyone's going to touch that guy in terms of quality for a long time, if ever. Oh, yes. There's a couple of videos on there's a couple of videos on YouTube of him doing, aviation related stand up. They they're they're kind of unbelievable. Um I'm half tempted to put them up on screen right now just so we can watch them. Um I don't think that would give me a DMCA strike because we're not listening to music. But yeah, seriously, the level of just amazing humor this guy has is wonderful. Okay, we have a little bit of traffic, not traffic, a little bit of weather off of our 3 o'clock or like 2:30-ish this way. Not going to be a problem since we're not going to be flying into it. 80 nautical miles for the map, and we're looking for traffic, but did I not see any? Oh, okay. I guess we're not taking traffic into account. Let's see. We're on TARA. There we go. I didn't click the button. Now we can see traffic. And if you want to track me on VATSIM, I am Air Canada 197 Heavy. We have just left Nova Scotia. We're in the bay between Nova Scotia and St. John, where I visited some, I want to say, what, two, no, going on 3 summers ago at this point. Yeah. Let's see. I felt one of my friends walk by. I think it was one of my cats. So yeah, chat, we got a little bit of time to catch up. I am on my way to 38,000 feet, where we're going to be hanging out for a little bit before we arrive at Toronto. And if Nathan's heads up is anything, it sounds like we're going to have some company, definitely some ATC, when we get there. Sounds beautiful back in the cabin. We're doing okay. When can I expect to plan for descent? So, in a little bit more than an hour from now. So, that's fine. Considering a westbound flight, it would have been probably cool to fly 40,000 feet to Toronto, but I don't know. So, we actually have planned on that sim, so. Toronto, Montreal, and other U.S. airports are getting staffed up in 1.5 hours. So there is a pretty good chance that I'm going to catch the fringe of everything lighting up when we get close to Toronto. We'll see. There is a pretty good chance. Is it gonna happen? I don't know. I mean, I'm on Unicom right now, so theoretically I could probably get up with absolutely no problem and go make myself a cup of coffee. Do I want to wait a little bit longer and just kind of keep my craving at bay? Probably not. Daylight savings time is going to mess with my sleep schedule a teensy bit anyway, so it's probably going to be a good idea for me to get myself some coffee now and just catch up with everybody. Maybe we will catch some of Rod Machado's comedy routine, because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I think I want to watch that. So we'll see, we'll see. And if it's my first DMCA strike, then clearly I won't be able to listen to that going forward. But at the same time, it is what it is. I used to have the kind of like Twitch soundtrack service running, where they configured my Streamlabs to have a separate VOD free channel. I'm just lazy. I don't set that up on my own. But when I come back, I probably will either look at that or look at some potential projects that I might do after I hop off the PC tonight. So sit tight. Feel free to get up and move about the cabin if you like, because I'm going to go ahead and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign. And I am going to mute my microphone and grab myself a cup of coffee. So, stick around, chat. Thanks so much for being here tonight. I sincerely appreciate your support, and I should be back momentarily with some coffee and with a game plan for the rest of the stream. Stay on. everybody. I am back. Hopefully that was not too long. Got up, moved my legs, made some coffee, and grabbed some things for Mrs. Digi. Let's take a brief look at the current flight and see how far along we are. I will double check myself. Let's see. Okay, yeah. I'll move those comments to my notes for today. Yes, so VATSPY isn't showing me any other activity all the way up to Toronto right now, but it is possible and likely that we're going to be seeing these sectors light up probably what, like in the next hour? That's what I'd assume. So, to anyone that's still here, thank you. Anyone that's been lurking, I heart my lurkers. You guys bring up the channel algorithm. I thank you for being a part of the community, even if all you do is just listen to me talk for a little bit. We have been flying now for probably about 25 minutes at this point, roughly. We had planned to depart Halifax on runway 23, but then approach came on, or departure came on at Halifax. I've rediscovered why my flight plan wasn't working. And then once we cleared that up, we got cleared for runway 32 instead of 23, and we got on our way to Toronto. So we have been cruising now for a little bit, overflying some beautiful, beautiful sunset sky landscapes as we continue to travel out to Toronto today. I did have Google Maps running in the background on the map replacement mod, but I don't think we're going to be taking extensive advantage of that. Although offline, I might fly around Toronto just to kind of scope out the difference between that and the usual Bing Maps stuff. So it is what it is. All right. So, like I said, we are on Unicom right now, and there's, at this point now, literally no one in front of me for like a good 50 to 100 nautical miles. So I'm going to go ahead and probably lower the in-game audio. What's my number right now? 10 out of what? 10 out of 12. So let's break this down to like about 2. Let's see if we can find some interesting entertainment. Like we mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can queue up some Rod Machado clips to have some fun. Okay, so let me grab a window. And there's lots of videos. Let's see, there's defensive flying, and I think this is it. Aviation humor. All right, stand by. We'll have a little bit of fun on the way. So let me get my browser window loaded. And here we go.
How is everybody doing this evening? Terrific. How many people were here last year at the Theater in the Woods? How many people, this is the first time you've seen me here at the Theater in the Woods? Excellent. How many people don't know they're at the Theater in the Woods right now? Folks, I can't tell you, I am so excited and so thrilled, as I was telling Tom backstage, to get up and have an opportunity to talk to a group of my fellow pilots, and there must be about 8 million of you out there right now, is just such an exciting thing. I feel about as happy as that guy 3 weeks ago at the LA Center who had, as an air traffic controller, had a great sense of humor in controlling a flight out of Edwards Air Force Base, a stealth fighter on departure. The stealth fighter calls up Los Angeles approach control, and the LA Center says, "Roger, stealth fighter, turn left heading 320 degrees, radar contact." What a wonderful feeling. Gosh, it is so exciting to be here. We're going to have a great deal of fun tonight. How many people here are looking forward to learning a few things, but most importantly, having a lot of fun and experiencing the joy and thrill of being in aviation? Excellent. Excellent. You folks up here up in front are in great jeopardy as far as I'm concerned, because I get so excited when I talk, and especially talking about something like aviation, that I could burst into flames, catch fire, and you're all in great jeopardy, so be prepared to move back. My wife and I came here on a flight. It was actually an inexpensive flight, because whenever we travel, we always try to get the most inexpensive fare. So we flew on a major airline, and it was a lot of fun. We got here very inexpensively. We had 4 plane changes on the flight, 2 of them which were in the air. It was a little uncomfortable. But if you ever get a chance to fly on United Airlines, do that, because it's a very classy airline. Of course, American is too, and a lot of the other ones. United just happens to be interesting because they're serving a new delicacy on the airline. It's called brie. It's a cheese. How many people are familiar with that? It's a cheese that smells like a gym locker. You open up a little package and the oxygen mask just sort of pop right down, right there. But the opportunity to fly around on an airplane and travel and talk to different people and to share a lot of different ideas is so extremely important to me, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How exciting, how important it is to be in aviation. And folks, so I must tell you, if I were an aviator in this spot right now, in the audience, I would feel very, very proud. As an aviator up here on stage, I feel extremely proud, but as a member of an aviation fraternity, in particular a group of people who are part of one of the best aviation organizations in the world, the organization that is probably responsible for keeping grassroots aviation alive and well in America, the EAA, I would feel very, very, very proud. And I feel very, very proud. Folks, again, one of the interesting things about pilots is we are very, very proud people. You know, there are only 650,000 pilots flying around right now with medicals. We don't know how many are flying around without medicals, but we know that there are 650,000 flying around right now with medicals. I'm just kind of curious, of the people in here, how many people in here by applause have soloed? How many people by applause have soloed? Excellent. Excellent. And does the FAA know of that solo? I'm kind of curious about that. Normally there should be the same amount of laughter versus applause on that particular one. You bet. Again, in aviation, such an exciting place to be. In fact, one of the interesting things about being an aviator is we like to tell people about what we do. I'm sorry? We're going to isolate the presentation to this section of the audience right over here for right now. We like to tell people about what we do. This is very, very exciting, being an aviator, and sometimes it's hard to find people that will stop and listen to us and share the camaraderie and the excitement of being in aviation. As a matter of fact, we like to talk about aviation so much that I have researched now 3 different forms of communication. The best communication, or the most effective communication. One is telephone, number 2 is telegraph, and number 3 is telepilot. Those are the 3 most effective forms of communication. And again, we like to tell people about what we do, but sometimes we just have a hard time breaking it into conversation, if you will. How many people in here can think back to a time when after they got their license, they first decided to cash a check? Can you think back to a time like that? When you went up to that supermarket and you found somebody behind that supermarket stand right there that didn't know you, and you were going to go up and cash a check, and you put that check right down there on that supermarket counter and just started to roll around and move like that, and you just followed that check around. And the check came up to that person behind the counter, and she picked up that check and she looked at it, and then she said the sweetest sound that could ever fall upon the ears of a pilot. She said, "I guess I'm going to need some ID for that." So you reached in your wallet and pulled it out so fast it almost caught fire as it came through your pant pocket right there. And you whipped out your pilot's license, you laid it down very proud right there on that supermarket counter. And then the second sweetest sound ever to fall upon the ears of a pilot, she looked at you and she said, "What is that?" Which now presupposes that you have to explain. So you brought out the regulations and showed her according to FAR 6165. all the things you had to learn, and people that were in back of you are moving to other sections of the supermarket? Wow, that's what I mean when I say feeling really proud. We like to tell people what we do, and in other words, that's our job as aviators, to sort of spread the word, if you will. As a matter of fact, I have a little nephew. His name is Brad. He's about 4 years old, and recently had a problem with thumb sucking. Well, my sister decided she was going to cure that problem. She's standing out in a park, and all of a sudden a fellow's walking by, a big, portly, gigantic, portly, a very, very big fat guy walking by, and my sister looks at Brad, and she says, Brad, look at that man right over there. That's going to happen to you if you don't stop sucking your thumb. And Brad, he pulled his thumb out so quick. 2 weeks later, they were in a supermarket, and all of a sudden, Brad looks up, little bitty guy now, he sees a pregnant woman walking by. And so Brad just starts following her. He's following her up and down, aisle 11, aisle 10, aisle 15, aisle 13, aisle 10 again. And she's getting kind of nervous because there's this little midget following her. And she stops and she says, stop it, stop following me. I don't even know you. And little Brad looks up and says, yeah, but I know what you've been doing. Folks, we have to be like the kamikaze pilot as pilots. We have to be like kamikaze pilots in that I believe we have to do all our bragging ahead of time. How many people in here have pictures of their airplane, in other words, your airplane, in your wallet right now? Let me see. Raise your hand. Don't be ashamed. Raise your hand. Excellent. Now, let me ask you a question. Is that picture in front of or behind your family? You know, we get so excited about aviation and want people to know what we're doing with that picture. I had one guy once, he just couldn't stand the thought of deciding who he's going to put first. So he put his family in the airplane, took a big old picture, and keeps it in his wallet right now. First page, right there on the wall. Gosh darn it. Folks, one of the neat things about aviation is that we can join groups like the Experimental Aircraft Association. I joined the EAA to have and share the camaraderie of being able to be with my fellow aviators. I also joined so that I could do experiments in airplanes. But this is just such an exciting thing, and to have that opportunity, you know, there are a lot of other groups around that actually perhaps are much larger than we aviation or we aviation buffs. And their groups extend into many different quadrants and many different facets of our society. As an example, lawyers. Now, lawyers are a very, very large group. But I don't know any lawyer that really feels as proud to be a part of their group as we aviators feel proud to be part of our aviation group. You know, I don't know what it is with lawyers. There's just something a little different about that. A buddy of mine's a doctor. His best friend died. And his best friend had a double indemnity insurance policy. Now, you know the insurance companies don't like to pay double of anything. So what they did was they sent an insurance lawyer agent out to question my doctor buddy in a deposition, you know, part of this large group of lawyers. He came out, and in a court deposition, you know, again, he's kind of suspicious that maybe the doctor forged this death certificate. In the deposition, the lawyer looks at my doctor buddy and says, now, sir, did you see the body of the alleged deceased? My doctor buddy says, you know, no, it was a natural death. I didn't have any reason to see the body. Then the lawyer said, well, then did you do an autopsy on the alleged deceased? You know how lawyers talk. And my buddy said, no, there was no reason. If I didn't see the body, I certainly couldn't have done an autopsy. And the lawyer said, well, then, did you go to the funeral of the alleged deceased? And my doctor buddy said, no, I was at the hospital delivering a baby at the time. And the lawyer looked at my doctor buddy and said, sir, then what we have here is no actual proof that the alleged deceased has expired. And my doctor buddy looked down and said, you know, that's a good point. Never did think about that. However, I do happen to have his brain in a jar in my office. And for all I know, he could be out practicing law somewhere.
I think this was like one of one or two other videos for Machado that I found that has him doing stand up. Now we can keep going if we want to. Um, the video I think talks about certain other aspects. I think there's like a joke there where he's talking about flying a plane and flying a helicopter. If it's the same video that I think it is, because there were literally two videos that I found for him doing stand up in the whole of YouTube. And I think like the rest of the matches for Ramachata are basically like 1 or 2 minute sound bites for him talking about certain aspects of landing a plane, flying a plane, general aviation, stuff like that. But I mean, like, I could keep watching that for a long time. I'm just double checking right now. We are well into the interior, and we're about to, I think, cross out of Maine into literal, legit Canadian airspace. And after that, we're going to be almost flying overhead Montreal and then going down or going past the St. Lawrence into Lake Ontario and eventually lining up to get lined up and landed on runway 33. So far, I still don't see any ATC, but again, like I said, it's entirely possible, highly likely, that we are going to be getting ATC before we touch down. And I've been up in the air now for about 40 to 45 minutes, so that's like the first half of tonight's flight. So that's cool. Again, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate all of you. Thanks for being a part of tonight's stream. I do occasionally fly in Flight Sim. I have been trying to get more forward motion in scenery development because I want to try to release stuff for FS 2020 since it still has quite a bit of a lease on life, along with getting back into making FS 2024 airports. Like I released Higginsville Industrial Municipal Airport back in December. But at the same time, it takes time. It takes time to do that. It takes time to get into a good place to let your brain flow, put stuff together, release scenery, which is what I want to do. It's been a little bit challenging. I want to say about 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I moved some stuff around, moved some furniture around, and some furniture moved me around. So I'm pretty sure I wound up injuring myself, but so far so good. I get sore, more so than usual, but at the same time, happy
checklist complete.
Happy to be able to take care of that. Studio Canuck, thank you so much for the 48 months of support. Appreciate your tier 1. Thanks so much for being here, buddy, even if it's just to stop by and re-up the sub. Wishing you well. We are about to cross out of Maine. Actually, we crossed Maine, and now we are in, I think, Quebec airspace. Hold on, let me check the map, because I'm Navigraph charts right now. We are in... We're not in Toronto. We are in Montreal Center, or Montreal Control, if you will. So we are officially in, and we're like flying past Maine, going to be above New Hampshire and Vermont, and then eventually we're going to be going overhead Montreal on the way into Toronto. We have been flying the PMDG 777, waiting another hour before we can open up this first apple juice of the night. It's been a while since I've had a legit apple juice, actually. And we're talking about actual apple juice, not beer. But actually, it's been a while since I had a beer as well. I like Sapporo. I tried Guinness. Guinness is actually pretty cool. There was like a German beer I had like about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I like German, Belgian. They're sweet. They're well rounded. I actually do. I have no problem drinking like very hoppy beers, but I think I like beer that's way more mellow, which is probably why I like Blue Moon over something like, say, Corona. But I've I think in general I'm more into wine because I find myself drinking that way more readily than beer. But I don't actually drink that much alcohol at all on an ongoing basis. It's usually a pretty limited relationship, so to speak. We are almost at Daxug, and then we have two more waypoints before we overfly Montreal and then hit the Savex waypoint. After that, a couple more waypoints later, we're going to be on the arrival into Montreal. Let's get a good look at what we're flying tonight, shall we? Going outside, earphone warning in 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay, it's not that loud, I don't think. This is the PMDG 777-300 B77W as the aircraft code. And we took off from Halifax a while ago, and we are on our way to Toronto Pearson. But yeah, this is one of my favorite liveries for Air Canada. That black tail with the red maple leaf on it. It's amazing. Yeah, we're chasing the sun. Right, when you say strong tasting, you're talking about the hops, right? That's what I'm assuming you mean. Um, I can drink a Corona. I've had Corona with like a literal lime slice in it, but I would, if I had a choice between reaching for a Corona or a Blue Moon, I'd reach for a Blue Moon. If I had a choice between a Corona, a Blue Moon, and like a German beer or something from like Belgium or something like that, that was like way more mellow and sweet, I would go international. So I would go grab that beer. I've had Sapporo, like Sapporo's kind of cool, but in general, I think that kind of beer, like the really like borderline sweet Belgian ale, is my speed in general. I would say. Clearly, I'm into sweet reds, sweet white wines. Um, I mean, I like drink coffee after dinner, so having a companion drink to something that I'm like eating is something that I think about like lightly, not that much. I would say. Now, how much closer am I to top of descent? Let's take a look. Top of drop's going to be in about 240 nautical miles, so that's less than an hour. That means I should probably start looking at it. Let's take a look at the map and start seeing what the arrival is going to look like. I'm going to take a look at the Ragged 6 real fast. Oh, there we go. There's multiple arrivals. We're going to be arriving on 3-3, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and now I can queue up the browser window. So, there we go. We need to be between 14 to 12,000 at 250 knots by Vidro, and then 8,000 and 210 knots at Nubav. So that's like 8 nautical miles, that's 12. This is probably going to happen way faster than I think. Where it's going to slow down is going to be, lining up, doing all this, trudging out to the lake, and then getting turned back around. I have a feeling if we get there in time, they're probably going to make me descend way earlier and then vector me either just past Toronto City, Toronto City. They're probably going to vector me like just past Billy Bishop, and then have me come in direct to like Agbeck or something. So that'll be vectors, and then my ILS will probably already be tuned. That's the hope, of course. And I can double check my RadNav now. Let me see. Okay, ILS, pre-select, VOR. I can punch it in now and see what happens. But you said they're going to be going through VOR frequencies anyway. I'm not going to worry about it. As long as the weather holds out, we can risk it for a biscuit and see if we can actually go visual for 3-3. And to me, visual will be clear night, easily visible runway, lighting, all that stuff. So is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. Sky Command, good evening and welcome aboard. I haven't baked biscuits actually. I usually cook stuff. Also, we're getting those weird bumps in altitude where I'm getting these really, really strong pushes up or down. So I'm glad I turned the fasten seatbelt sign back to auto. I believe I did at least. Welcome aboard Sky Command. Happy to have you here. We are flying to Toronto tonight. We took off from Halifax, and this is something that I'm doing for funsies. We're flying westbound. We took off from St. John's probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we flew to Halifax, and today I'm flying from Halifax to Toronto on my continuing journey. I don't know how many stops I'm going to make before I get to Calgary, but I would probably say we're going to clear Ontario, so probably at least 1 or 2 flights through that province, then 2 provinces. Forgive my lack of better appreciation for Canadian geography, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be going through Saskatchewan and Manitoba before we get to Alberta. And then from Alberta, really with a plane this size or even the 787, we're probably not going to be flying into Kelowna. We're going to be going, maybe a 787 could get into Kamloops with some creative planning, but I would say probably Calgary to Vancouver at that point. So we're going to take a 777-300 into Charlie Zulu Victor Lima. That would be a trip. Put it you this way, it would definitely have to be a publicity stunt, and it wouldn't have to. I would need to have not that much stuff in the plane. Basically, same performance. Come on, putting me on the spot. And here we go. So yeah, funny story, Sky Command. I was trying to fly a flight with Studio Canuck last night, and for some reason, I took off from Thailand, Victor Tango Bravo Sierra, Bangkok, and then on my way up, I noticed the sim rate automatically accelerated, and the plane started flying a lot faster. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought it was a bug. I downloaded the latest update, and then today, when I was prepping for the flight, I realized in the settings, there's an option that when you hit the chronometer button a certain way, it automatically accelerates time for you. So I was like, I can't believe I missed that. But funny story as it is, at least my plane's updated at this point, so I'm okay. We are chasing the sun. I think we're going to get over Lake Ontario by the time it finishes setting, though. I do think we're going to be landing at 9. We're quiet for a bit. We were actually watching some Rod Machado comedy stand-up, but I want to do something else now. I am a bit of a tinkerer, so I want to look at some Raspberry Pi stuff. I have a Raspberry Pi 2, a 3B, and a 4. I don't have a 5 because when it came out, I think it was limited purchase potential. They're available all over the place now, but I am a fan of the Raspberry Pi magazine and some of the things you can do to mess around with technology. So let's see if we can find anything particularly cool or interesting. And let me see what I can find. Let me see what I can find. Well, let me show you some of the things that we're actually working with. This is the official site, and you can make stuff. I technically have everything I need to create a true or false quiz. I don't have the ability to 3D print stuff. Nathan, thanks so much for being a part of tonight's stream. Have a great rest of your evening, and I will be thinking about my Canadian friends as I arrive into Pearson tonight. Take care, my friend. God bless you. So, in order to create this, you need the necessary equipment, which is a Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller. There's something else which apparently modulates power or does something. Oh, I see. There's something else that you add in order to make the communication with the LCD screen different. And then you can use 3 buttons to play the game, like, true, false, next question, or whatever, reset. And then there's a lot of, like, languagey stuff which lets you determine how the voltage and the power goes all over the place. It's cool. It takes time to do, but it's fun when something's working. I actually created uh, uh, a little something on a breadboard, and the breadboard is that white contraption which houses whatever technology you're working with. I created something where I could push buttons on it that made toggle functions. It toggled buttons on the fly-by-wire. I enjoyed doing that, but it does take time to build. So, you know, making things like an intruder alarm, or making a game controller, or building your own Pip-Boy, it takes a while to do. So if you buy one of these from, like, say, Micro Center, you basically connect it to your computer by USB cable, and then you can load firmware onto it so that you can make it do things. And if you see that and you're like, oh, well, what's so cool about this? Well, put it to you this way. Kind of like when you used to have a Dreamcast or an Xbox or even a Nintendo 64. Think of this in some ways as an add-on, or something that's dedicated for one specific purpose at a time. It's called a microcontroller, and basically it's called a PICO, P-I-C-O. It's something which lets you do things like, reading temperature from a sensor, or you can get it to automatically execute keyboard macros for you, or you can read humidity or something about plants or whatever. So that's not the only thing that Raspberry Pi has. You can buy the the computers that they have. Let me see if I can find the site. There we go. So this is basically what they sell. They sell entire computers in the form of keyboards, kind of like the old systems, like, the ZX Spectrum or the Commodore 64, where the computer was basically in the keyboard, and you can you can use this as a literal desktop PC. Let me see. Do we have a link? Oh, there we go. I can browse. So yeah, under the keyboard, there's an entire computer. And this kind of reminds me of the old Tandy desktop computers, because Tandy was a Radio Shack brand for a little while, and basically it was something small enough to fit on your desk without being a huge tower. And everything's included. You know, the keyboard, the connectors, you can like plug into a screen or get your own separate screen, and then basically you use it with a dedicated operating system, and you can basically use it like a desktop PC, or you can potentially put a different operating system on it, like Linux, like Ubuntu, and then do things, program things, set it up as a media center at home, or make it a game machine, things like that. All right, how far along are we now? Let's take a look. Let me follow my ship. Oh wow, we completely flew past Montreal already. We're on the western side of it. We're in the suburbs now, and it does look like we're not going to beat the sun down to the ground. But this is just such a beautiful view. Yeah, it's getting darker, and the stars are coming out. But it's fun to fly flights like this. I don't mind landing at night. This is pretty cool. We've been flying ever since we took off from Halifax. At this point, we've been flying for literally a little over an hour at this point, almost 60-ish minutes. And we're going to be coming up on top of descent pretty shortly. We've got less than 160 nautical miles to go. So let's start taking a look at the plan. What is the plan? What I'm probably going to do is plug in the altitude for what I usually call the final approach fix, or the point at which we're on the glide slope and getting ready to descend, or already descending. Based on the ILS approach for 3-3 right, that's going to be 2,000 feet, or I can leave it as 3,000 feet so that if we have to go around, we can climb out to that distance. I'm going to go ahead and get the altitude set now so I don't forget it. And there we go. Current heading is going to change a little bit, probably 275 or 272. We'll chase it a little bit. This is the PMDG 777-300, and this is not the same as the 777 freighter. I kind of wish I had that, because then I'd be doing cargo ops and hearing the I think the Rolls-Royce engines that sound like buzzsaws on takeoff. It's great sound. I do have a 737-600 for that if I really want to, so that's not going to be a problem. I don't think the 736 has GE or different, like Pratt & Whitney engines. I think it's just Rolls-Royce engines too. But these engines are different. I think they're either Pratt & Whitneys or they're GEs. I forget. I know they produce a lot of thrust though. It's like 115,000 pounds static thrust. So that's a lot of energy. So we got the altitude set. What I'm hoping is going to happen is that the ILS will auto-tune as we get close to the airport. And if I check VATSPY, we have Boston approach online, we have Nantucket approach online, and we have New York approach online. I do not see anything in Canada just yet, but there is, I believe, a pretty good chance we're going to get some Canadian control to get us down on the ground at Toronto before long. Coffee's still good. That'll be it for me once we get down to the ground. at Toronto Pearson. Ooh, a Formula One Lego car. That's amazing. So, off-brand Lego made by Mold King. Let's see if I can find that. Okay, do you mean this? Because if so, this is wonderful. I have a Lego Technic in my closet that I should probably build. I have one in my office that I don't build. That's an even smaller one. Oh, that's not it? Okay. Is it a different livery, so to speak, or is it a different F1 car? Okay. Technology collectible. Let's see. It's this one. Wow. 1,235 pieces for 79.99. That is chunky. Oh, wow. Can you imagine? Somebody probably hacked this to actually house a RC motor and then probably like drive it on a racetrack. Dude, that's fairly impressive. That's actually pretty fairly impressive. I like that. So we are somewhere above or by the St. Lawrence River, which is going to open up into Lake Ontario. Actually, we're not by the St. Lawrence River. We're actually a lot closer to the river that's going to be alongside Ottawa, which is basically what we're going to be flying over shortly. Wow. The St. Lawrence empties out into Lake Ontario that way. That's incredible. Nice. A dump truck. That's kind of cool. I think I sell myself short when I spend, like, more time in front of a screen than, off the screen, messing around with things, tinkering. I've done things on my Raspberry Pi, and I've done even Lego builds in the past. I did like 3 or 4 separate Lego Speed Legends cars, the tiny ones that are like the F40 and the Porsche, the Audi rally car, things like that. And I think what happens to me is I kind of get in my own way. There's a lot of stuff that's on my mind or things that I want to plan or prepare for, and then you're like, oh well, like what about this? What about the other thing? And before you know it, it's just like, oh, I ran out of time for today. So maybe I need to get back into that. If it wasn't for your army scheme. Yeah. Well, praying God gives you even more efficient healing in Jesus' name. I hope you get better soon and you get back to doing some great things. I will say this much: I didn't expect to be doing something yesterday that I did, but I wrapped up work and then I threw a bunch of stuff in my car and I went down to a local store and I turned in a bunch of old video game systems for money. I needed the income to take care of some necessary expenses, and the systems were basically sitting behind me in the office, gathering dust, not being used for anything. So I turned in I turned in a PS4. I turned in an old Xbox I had. I turned in an old Nintendo Wii, and I had an NES Classic. And there was a time when the hype train for the NES Classic was huge, and people were paying hundreds of dollars for them. But on eBay, I've seen them consistently sell now in the in like the $70 to $80 range. So they've normalized again. Yeah, no, I don't have an official Super Nintendo. I do still have a few systems. I still have like an old Game Boy Advance, and I have a 3DS and an Xbox 360. I'm going to be keeping the Xbox 360 probably for a very long time, and or unless something happens and it gets ruined and I have to get rid of it, or something like that. But even if it got ruined, it probably I think I'd probably want to at least tinker with the electronics just to see if I can mess with it, and that would potentially launch my you know soldering career. Yes, it is an OG Game Boy. The screen, the screen cover, the usual one that sits in front of the LCD, that's deglued itself a long time ago. But it was also old, and that was my wife's. I still have it. I'm not getting rid of that. I also have like an old Game Boy Advance I picked up back in like I don't have like it's like what 8, 9, 10 years old. I mean, well, they came out in like 2001, 2002, but I'm saying I picked one up about 8 to 10 years ago, and I still have it. And that's the one that actually uses like still uses batteries. I think it started when we got to the Game Boy Advance SPs, when they got backlit screens and they were clamshell. That's when I think they started being rechargeable. And I had one for a while, and I liked playing with it until I didn't. First console you bought with your own money. Nice. Actually, I think I might actually play with that tonight, to be honest. I mean, no offense. I wouldn't be sitting in this virtual airplane flying as long as I am if I didn't enjoy flight sim. I'm not saying I don't, but I think especially tonight, uh, once I wrap up, I will probably either make dinner or just nuke something, sit down, mess around with some old tech. And you got Mega Man. I do have Mega Man. I think it's Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge. That I don't know why, but I can't. I have to wrap my head around playing the game and learning, patterns and getting good at it. I used to be good at playing console games like on the Nintendo, and then I just grew up and lost interest. I think I still like playing console games, don't get me wrong, but I trend more towards like relaxed or like um, racing games, things like that. So there's a certain subset, or adventure games. And believe it or not, I actually have a retro bit system that plays Nintendo cartridges. So I have some actual physical cartridges. Games like Rad Racer, Faxanadu, Super Mario, things like that. Okay, we are coming up on top of drop in less than 80 nautical miles at this point. So it's about to get real. And considering that the sun is almost completely set, if not totally set at this point, we are going to, I think, start getting ready for the arrival fireworks, as it were. We've got auto brake 4. I don't have my speed brake armed yet. Now it is armed. Speed brake armed, auto brake 4. Do I need auto brake 4? Auto brake 3 would probably be sufficient, especially if I'm landing on 3-3 right. So I think we should be okay. Now, just a quick check. I still do not see any ATC, so I think it's probably going to kick off either as I'm landing or just after I land. We've got 7 departures ready to go, or not ready to go, but they're going to be departing out of Pearson, going to the tropics, going to Hong Kong, one to Boston, one to Dulles, one to Newark, and one to Toronto. It's an A320. So we got some traffic. I have appreciated this flight. I think it's cool to fly the heavy iron, and I might make flying the 777 a part of my regular lineup. I like flying the 7-8. It's just so soothing to me that it's so automated, but also almost the exact opposite is why I like the 737-600. There's a lot you have to manage on your own, which which makes that even cooler. Okay, let's get the let's get the I think the blood lighting up. There we go. And where's my flood lighting for this? Alright, that's good enough. I'm happy with that. Alright, about 40 nautical miles before we start descending, so we're going to be getting going very soon. This is nice. I want to wish everybody in chat a very, very, very happy Saturday night. I'm wishing nothing but the best success and peace for all of you. If you are not feeling the best, or this week was a rough one for you, or if you were dealing with some things which were not enjoyable or downright hard, I pray that you find some comfort and some relaxation this evening. As a born-again Christian and a follower of Jesus Christ, I would pray that you would consider leaning on God in these times and trusting in His Son Jesus for your salvation. I always like to say that I want to leave that decision up to everyone. I never want to force what I believe on anyone. But if you have questions, or if you want to know more about what I believe, I would invite you to check out sites like the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association and learn more that way and take that in yourself. If it's your desire or interest to have a personal relationship with Christ because you're not satisfied with your life, or you just want a fresh start, it's really simple. Acknowledge that God exists, that He wants to have a relationship with you. Acknowledge that it's not possible for you to simply reach out because of the sin that all of us experience, and commit, and to pray that you believe in Him, you want Him in your life, you want Jesus to be your Savior, and you want to hand over your life and not do the things you did before and do better. And to believe that in your heart and to confess that with your mouth. If that's not what you want, I still appreciate having you here tonight, and I still pray that you are well taken care of now and in the days to come. But knowing God through Christ is a great way to live with Him forever and to not be eternally separated from God in a place that's called hell. I want you in heaven with everyone that trusts Christ as Savior, but at the same time, if that's not your interest, that's fine. Excuse me, that's not fine, but I respect your decision. We are almost at top of drop. How close are we now? We're a lot closer than we were 5 minutes ago. Let's zoom in a bit. Yeah, we're like a little over 10 nautical miles. We should begin descending very shortly. Very shortly. And then we'll be on approach. Still no ATC for Toronto Center or for Toronto Approach. So we're going to be using Unicom, which I believe is what we're currently set to already, 122.8. And that's about it. Let me just check my vPilot client. I am squawking mode Charlie. We should be fine. And unless I missed my guess, I am looking down the coast at Toronto even now. It's just, I think it's like way out here at this point. Alright, so we've got seatbelt signs to auto. Let's take a look upstairs. Is there anything that I am missing? I don't think so. No. We should be fine. We'll turn on wing lights and landing lights past 10,000, unless I don't want wing lights on, which I don't necessarily need at this point because we're not flying in inclement weather. Landing lights should be just fine. They should suffice. And let's take a look at RadNav and see what happens. There we go. And do we have the ILS queued up? It looks like we do. Let me double check. It is 110.3 at 327. Yeah, there we go. There's the course. There's the ILS. Seen twice, confirmed. All right, so we have the ILS already queued up and ready to go, so we should be just fine getting down to the ground. All right, so here we go. We've already begun our initial descent. Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We've begun our initial descent down to Toronto. We should be on the ground probably in the next 20 to 25 minutes. The flight attendants will be coming down the aisles to collect any articles you wish to dispose of, and we will be on the ground shortly. We appreciate you choosing Air Canada for your flight tonight, and we hope you have a great time in Toronto this evening. And if it's your connecting flight, that you connect well to your onboard or ongoing destinations. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. Okay, so initial descent should make me follow the required speeds and paths down to the ground. Like I said, this is probably going to happen a lot faster than even I expected to. It's interesting how there is a spot in the middle of Lake Ontario. It's probably an MOA where the restriction is between 3,000 feet to flight level 500. There's two of them actually. But there are two places where you can actually cross over. And there are actually some airways that go through them. So I'm guessing they're MOAs. And I might as well make my intentions clear to surrounding traffic. I don't think I have anybody by me, but let's just practice. What is my flight plan? We are going to be descending on the Ragged 6. Toronto traffic, all stations. Air Canada 197 is type Boeing 777-300. We're descending from flight level 380 on the Ragged 6. Arrival for runway 33 right at Toronto. Yep, it's definitely dark out. Still got a little bit of sunlight or daylight left before we actually get to the city, turn base, and land. Again, appreciate everybody that stopped by today and said hello. Definitely appreciate the resub from Studio Canuck. And with regards to upcoming schedule, last week kind of tanked, and I'm not sure what this week is going to look like. Honestly, I think the best guarantee that I can provide is that I'm going to try to stream. And if the easiest and most relaxing thing that I can do is to stream trucking and just be on the microphone but not talk much, that's probably what I'm going to do. It depends on the workload. I may have some additional things that I got to take care of for my IRL job. And then I guess we'll see what happens. If I do scenery dev, I might do like one stream where I talk, but I think it's either going to be one quiet stream and then like the rest of the week I do scenery dev offline, or like I said, if I stream, it's going to be like for an hour and I'm just like chilling. I debated the idea of doing a no microphone stream for trucking, but I kind of like being on the microphone to catch up with chat, and it is still possible to talk when you're driving in ATS or ETS as opposed to, when you're in a racing game, because it's so much more involved. So that's cool. But we'll see. Traffic check. No traffic between me and the airport, at least based on the last VATS by update. Yeah, still no traffic between me and the airport. There is a British Airways flight that took off from Chicago O'Hare, flying to London Heathrow. They're basically at 35,000 feet. They're going pretty quick. They're going to be no factor. Such a nice night sky out. It's great. let's double check the weather. METAR for Toronto, we have winds from the west at 1-2 knots. So the crosswind's going to be a little bit steep, but not terrible. Visibility is pretty good, at a minimum 15 statute miles. Clouds few at 4,000, few at 180, few at 250. Temperatures -2, and the altimeter is 2.991. Okay, we are about to cross back into pressurized local values once we get below 18,000 feet. It's amazing. Got some clouds on the lake. I don't anticipate having a low visibility situation for our arrival at Pearson. We should be good. Okay. We'll calibrate for 2.991 because I believe that's what I had for METAR. Yeah. Churning and burning. Here we go. We should be coming up on our first restriction very shortly. Yes, we need to be 250 knots and between 14 and 12,000 feet. Looks like we're on board for the altitude restriction minimum, and we just need to make sure we slow down. I believe we should be able to make the decel point, but I don't know that for a fact. I guess we'll see what happens. I do know we have passenger signs on, auto brake 3, and the speed brake is armed. When we get to Pearson, when we land 3-3, I think we can go to Terminal 3, I think, and just park up. I can probably use Pier Bravo and park up at either Bravo 15 or Bravo 14, which would give me at least half the runway. If I can exit by the first high speed, that's Bravo 2, that would be perfect. That would deposit me on Romeo, and then I can take Romeo all the way into the terminal. Might be going a bit fast for the speed restriction, but not much going on in VATSIM anyway. I'd probably be getting vectors at this point from ATC, but that's fine. Again, let's see. Yeah, still, no one between me straight ahead in the airport. And I am now below the departing traffic that's going to Montreal, which is already off that way, I think. Okay, we are decelling to 250 knots at this point. That's good. The computer took care of that decel point for me, and we are almost to Vidro, and then we're going to keep descending down to, I'd say, our ILS capture altitude. too shabby. All right, so Nathan told me we were going to be overflying. Did we already? We will be overflying Billy Bishop if we go out to the lake. And then there's Brampton. Let's see. Flying past Stouffville and Toronto Markham. We flew past Blackstock and... Oh, we did! I forgot to wave. I'm sorry, Nathan. We went past Charlie Yankee, Papa Quebec, which is Peterborough. It's way outside of the the Toronto area. Not that far outside, but not the burbs. So we're okay. Okay, coming up on 10,000. Let's go ahead and just turn on some lights. Landing lights. Let's get the... Let's see, do we need nose light on? I don't think we need the nose light on just yet. Okay. Runway 23 for departure, where? So they're taking off runway 23. Alright, hold on. I might change up my song here if it's preferable that I do so. They're taking off runway 23 and I'm landing 233. Okay. You know what I could do? I can probably land runway 24 if I reconfigure myself. How far out am I? We are at 900,000. Okay, so what I can do is probably vector myself to land 2-4 if I do it quickly enough. 2-4 would be a different approach. Give me 2-4. 2-4 right. Final. So 2-4 right would get me to Ebdal at what? It would need to be 3,000 feet, which I am not at 3,000 feet right now. Complete freedom. Welcome aboard, my friend. We are on approach to Toronto Pearson after taking off from Halifax earlier. And I see...
traffic, Transat 340 tax, correction, pushing depth from gate 169 Tiltony West, Toronto.
Okay, looks like they're taking off and landing westbound. So let me go ahead and reconfigure. Toronto traffic, Air Canada 107 heavy, 8,300 manual vectors to reposition for the ILS 24 right approach, Toronto. So what we're going to do, we're going to queue up the current heading. And we're going to go ahead and make a left turn. Current heading 221. So like 90 degrees would be 130. Let's go ahead and do V-speed. And let's do 180 knots for the approach. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate that. I am getting myself ready because I was approaching Toronto to land on runway 33 right, but started to notice people taking off on one person took off from runway 23. So I thought to myself, okay, if you're taking off to the west and I'm gonna be potentially clashing with their flight line over the lake, I should probably take 24 right instead. Especially since I don't have traffic right now. So I'm paying way more attention to my flight right now because I need to make sure that I'm good. Reciprocal of 237 is going to be 057, I think. Let's go 057. Toronto traffic, Air Canada 107 heavy, turning left downwind for ILS 24 right approach, Toronto traffic. Okay, so far so good. Not messing with anybody's departure because nobody's taken off yet. They're taxiing, they might be maneuvering, but like I said, I'd rather do this, especially since I don't have an ATC right now on Unicom. So yeah, let's see, 230, 330, and then 60. Yep, that's it. So 57 degrees. That's the reciprocal. Coming down 3,000, and Ebdal is going to be 3,000 feet. So as soon as I hit even 4,000, I'll start making my turn to Ebdal to arrive. So one last thing we're going to do, we're going to change the arrival. We're going to change the arrival to 24 right. That is correct, 24 right. And Pigma is there. Transition Pigma, execute. So that means that I can go to Pigma, excuse me. There we go, 1,000 to go. All right, still on F. Toronto traffic, Air Canada 107 heavy, turning direct Pigma on the ILS 24 right approach. Okay. Starting to get slowed down. Let's go ahead and add some flaps in.
Traffic, WestJet 772 is departing runway 33 right.
We're going to be under the glide slope. Flaps 20, we should be good for the turn. Shouldn't be stalling. And what is the course heading? It's going to be 237. All right, 237 set, and
And Toronto traffic, trans 340 taxiing for running 23 via Alpha Lima Alpha Hotel traffic, or Toronto traffic.
do I want faster speed? I don't think so. I mean, I guess I can stay 210 until I actually get established on the approach. Speaking of which, let's hit the approach button now, shall we? Alright, let's double check. Nav right is 109.3 at 237. Confirmed. That is... Do we have... Okay, we have it. It's India November Victor, but it doesn't show up here. Okay, go around is going to be 3,000. Over Lake Ontario at Petville, but I hope not to have to use that. Okay, got localizer and glide slope about to come in. Start slowing down. And one last check. Let's take a look at performance. We're going to take flaps 30. So ref plus 5 is going to be 140. There we go. We got some departing traffic. Kind of cool. It is pretty cool. That has been pretty neat tonight. Hello, Toronto. Winds are out of the northwest at 2-6. Got a healthy little crab in place. Okay, glide slope alive. Gear down. Okay, we have auto brake 3. Speed brake is armed. Glide slope loc active. Flaps 20. We need to get to flaps 30. We'll do 145 for now. Daughter Pearson traffic, Air Canada 197 heavy, fully established, ILS 24 right, last call. Okay, so, high check, Mr. Approach altitude set. On course. Ref plus 5 set. Full flaps. Controls. Alright, for the arrival, first high-speed deposit's going to be Charlie 2. If we can turn Charlie 2 Charlie left on Alpha, we can take Alpha all the way up to Alpha Tango. Okay, 24 right, winds are 283 at 19, that's not bad. Okay, 1,000, stable.
1,000.
Running checklist. Cabin crew's been advised. Gear down, flaps 30. Green light. My aircraft.
500.
500 still stable. And
Three
my throttles.
approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue.
$100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Loady. All right, down. First green, speed breaks up. Reverse is normal. Neil?
And Toronto traffic, Transat 340, landing up and departing runway 23, Toronto.
Which taxiway did I make? I made Delta 4, Charlie. Oops. Did I freeze up? Hang on. My display froze. Wow, my display really froze. Okay, hold on. Let me cut the, there we go, that's better. Lost the scaling out in the way. That's alright. Toronto traffic, Air Canada 197 Heavy cleared, runway 24 right at Delta 4, taxiing to the terminal via Alpha Tango, Toronto traffic. Alright, let's get those flaps retracted. Thank you. It was definitely a floating landing. Like, I could have done much better. The I lost kind of like my depth perception once we got under like 500 feet, and I thought I was gonna like slam it. So I kept kind of keeping the nose pointed farther and farther up than I needed to. So essentially, what happened was, it was like, oh no, like I'm gonna crash. It's like no, we're fine, we're fine. Yeah, true. I mean, like a floaty landing with a nice cushiony landing rate is not ideal. It's great comfort to the passengers, and since it wasn't raining, there wasn't a need to slam it. So there wasn't a need for, like, us to break surface tension. So I should be on Charlie right now, which I am. Coming up in 2 more turns to Alpha. I'm going to be going past the ILS for the runway I would have landed on, which is 33 right, but the winds made that a less than favorable proposition. So let's get those other landing lights off. Let's get taxi lights on. Strobe lights can come off now. Wing lights can come back on. And while we're on the ground, let's get the APU started again. And what else am I missing? Not much. We can turn flight directors off at this point. We're not going to need them. And that should be it. There we go. Let's see. So a little over
traffic,
2 hours.
Transat 340, clear runway 23, directing Maven, correction. Toronto traffic, final call.
All right, coming up on Alpha right now. Wonderful. Wasn't the best landing, but I am very happy to be back down on the ground after roughly a 2-ish hour flight. No idea why my screen is bugging me like this. Oh, I know why. Because I'm probably, yeah, I'm running into issues with lossless scaling with regards to I don't know. That seemed very strange. It's very strange that it would actually kind of like flake off right after we touch down, but it's literally not something I'm going to worry about right now. We're done. We got this one and then one, two, so 3 more turnoffs before my turnoff. This is number 1, 2, and 3 are ahead, and then Alpha Tango is the 4th one, and that's where we'll turn in and get parked up. Depending on how experimental I feel, I will probably start messing around with FS 2024 again in the not too distant future. It's been a while since I tried to do an airliner flight, and I did one I would say about 3 weekends ago. I flew from Whitehorse in Canada to Yakutat, and I used the built-in or the default Max, the 739 Max, and the plane actually handled itself fairly well. It's just that I haven't set up my keybinds and stuff so that I can do all the things I need. I guess I just need to put in the time so that I can actually do the work properly. Yeah, 2 more and I'm done. After this one I turn. But it's very nice to know that the current sim still handles itself really well. I'm also using Rex AccuSeason Advanced on top of the Google Maps mod for better satellite visuals. All right. Once I turn in on Alpha Tango, I'll turn my taxi light off, and it will basically get parked up and connected. Looks like we have somebody on the tarmac at the cargo hub. That's cool. Is this my next turn? Yes, it is. So, Alpha Tango to Pier Bravo, and then Alpha Tango and probably Bravo 15 or 16, which is literally coming up. And here we are. All right. Well, I guess I beat the rush down here. How about that? All right. I think I can probably get away with parking up here. And we'll get parked up, get connected, and then we'll be done. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Let me check real fast. I could probably go forward a little bit more. That's good enough. All right, give me some brake pressure. Parking brake should be set now. Double check real fast. And it is. All right, great. APU is running. Flight attendants, doors to manual, stand by for all call. This is all call. Alright, wing lights off, logo light can stay on, nav lights off, beacon lights off. Let's go get some ground surfaces taken care of. So welcome down to Toronto, everybody. So about 2 hours and change, about 2 hours and like 20 minutes. So we're a little bit behind, but no biggie. Oh, you know what I can do? I can probably use my tablet. Alright, great. Done deal. We are ground ops ready. And we can set the chocks. Chocks set. Let's get aft cargo, bulk cargo. Let's get forward cargo and door management. Open. Let's get cargo doors open. And what can I request? I can request a jetway connection, and I can request ground power and air conditioning. And now we should be connected. And now I should be able to turn off the APU. Alright, great. APU can come off, and we can turn off our fuel pumps. Alright, I'm sure they've been deboarding by now. And let's get the dome light up. Alright, done deal. We didn't beat the sun down here, but we certainly arrived. Welcome, everybody. We are on the ground at Toronto Pearson after roughly 2 hours and change, taking off from Halifax today. Am I going to fly the rest of the legs in this bird? I might trade off between a triple and a 7-8, to be honest. This has been a great experience for me, and I've enjoyed it. Next flight, I'm trying to figure out what airport we're going to visit when we get out of here. I don't know, to be honest. I have to figure out what the next flight is going to be. It's either going to be just above Michigan or all the way out west, like maybe Thunder Bay or something like that. But taking a triple into Thunder Bay might be a challenge, especially if I remember the airport was not that big. So we'll see what happens. We're good at this point. I'm going to go ahead and sign off the network. I'm happy. Let me take a look. I am officially down on the ground from Halifax. Goodbye, Vatsum. And that's it. That's probably going to do it for me for tonight. Actually, that will do it for me for tonight. And again, like I said, I'm not 100% sure what my schedule is going to be like for this week. I would probably say, if you're going to see me online, it's probably going to be around like 9 or 9:30ish each night this week, either for some chill trucking or basically either chill trucking or like very quiet scenery dev. So let's do entry 2 left, and there we go. I can close entry 1 left and arm it, since we're just going to be using, disarm everything, duh. And that's it. Beautiful. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for following, just, lurking in chat. Thanks so much for being a part of tonight's stream. Again, big thank you to Studio Canuck for the 48 months of support, Tier 1. And thanks to everybody that chatted and said hello. I am done. Let's see, how many folks do we still have with us? Just a few. Let's see if we can say hi to somebody and get friendly for a little while before we move along. Let's take a look at my channel, see who is streaming right now, and who do we have here? I'm going to go ahead and say, oh, a friend of mine is doing West Coast DIGA ops. I think we're going to go ahead and raid Nathan's planes. Folks, an absolute privilege flying for all of you. Like I always say at the end of my streams, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that's Jesus Christ. Thank you, my friends. Have a great night, and until next time, we'll see ya.